Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood. Today we're going to be learning all about your circulatory system, but before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. You've probably heard that human blood is actually blue when it's inside your body. They say it turns red instantly when it touches oxygen in the outside air. People often point to the blue veins visible inside their wrists as proof. Simple observation seems to support the claim. Sounds scientific enough, but is it accurate? What do you think? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is capillary. That's CAPILLARY. A capillary is the smallest type of blood vessel in the body, connecting the arteries, which carry blood away from the heart, to the veins, which carry the blood back. While arteries and veins are like the major highways or main roads of your body, capillaries are the tiny driveways that actually reach the destination. They're incredibly thin, so narrow that red blood cells often have to fold over and travel through them single file. It's here in these tiny tubes that the real magic happens. Oxygen and nutrients are dropped off to your cells, and waste products like carbon dioxide are picked up and taken away. The word capillary comes from the Latin word capillaris, which translates to resembling hair. It's a fitting name because these vessels are microscopic, measuring only about 5 to 10 micrometers in diameter, and significantly thinner than a single strand of human hair. Despite their microscopic size, they are of massive importance. If you didn't have these tiny hairs bridging the gap between arteries and veins, your cells would starve. Sometimes the smallest parts of a system can be some of the most important. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about the circulatory system. Number 1, if you laid all your blood vessels end to end, they could wrap around the earth twice and then some. The circulatory system is a dense network of arteries, veins, and capillaries, and while it fits compactly inside your skin, the total length is absolutely massive. Scientists estimate the average adult has about 60,000 to 100,000 miles of blood vessels inside them. To put that in perspective, the circumference of the Earth at the equator is about 24,901 miles. This means that the vessels inside just one person are long enough to circle the entire planet more than 2 times. Or, I guess you could stretch about a quarter of the way to the moon. The reason it's so long is because every single living cell in your body needs to be close to a blood source to survive. The system is so thorough that, aside from places like your hair, nails, and corneas of your eyes, almost no part of you is further than a hair's breadth away from a blood vessel. This creates a massive logistical challenge for your heart, which is pumping blood through all those 60,000 miles of tubes. It has to generate enough pressure to push fluid through that entire distance, overcoming friction and gravity every single second of every single day. Number 2, your heart creates enough energy every day to drive a truck about 20 miles. The human heart is a muscle that never rests. It beats about 100,000 times a day and pumps basically like 2,000 gallons of blood. To be clear, you don't have 2,000 gallons of blood in your body, but the blood is recirculated. It's basically the equivalent of pumping 2,000 gallons. If you could harness the energy your heart expends in just a day, it would be enough to drive a heavy semi truck about 20 miles down the highway. Now, if we expanded that out to an average lifetime, it would be enough energy to drive that truck to the moon and back. This incredible endurance is due to the unique composition of heart tissue. Unlike your skeletal muscles, like your biceps, which get tired and sore after a heavy workout due to the lactic acid buildup, cardiac muscle is designed to be fatigue resistant. It's packed with mitochondria, the power plants of the cells, allowing it to produce energy continuously and efficiently without ever needing a rest day like the rest of your body does. And interestingly, the heart is not just working hard, it's also working kind of independently. It has its own electrical system called the cardiac conduction system. It can technically continue to beat for a short time, even if it were separated from the rest of the body. That is, at least if it had an oxygen supply. Number 3, not all animals have red blood. Some have blue, green, or even purple. Humans rely on an iron-rich protein called hemoglobin to carry oxygen. That gives our blood its signature red color, but the animal kingdom has plenty of other alternatives. For example, octopuses, spiders, and horseshoe crabs use a protein called hemocyanin, which contains copper instead of iron. When this copper binds with oxygen, it turns the blood a bright alien blue. Other animals have even stranger adaptations. The skink, a type of lizard, has green blood due to a buildup of the waste product biliverdin, which would be toxic to humans, but it protects the lizard from malaria. And there are marine worms that have purple blood, showing how evolution has solved the problem of moving oxygen around the body in different environments using whatever chemical elements that are most available or efficient for that species. And here's a little bonus fact. The blue blood from the horseshoe crab is actually incredibly valuable to modern science. It contains a clotting agent that reacts instantly to bacterial toxins. Scientists harvest this blue blood without killing the crab, and they use it to test medical equipment and vaccines for contamination. Number 4, your blood makes a round trip through your body in about 60 seconds. Your circulatory system is incredibly efficient. On average, a single red blood cell can leave your heart and travel all the way down to your toes, then make it back to your heart and lungs to get reoxygenated in about 1 minute. During intense exercise, when your heart is pumping faster, this travel time can drop to as little as 20 seconds. But the speed varies wildly depending on where the blood is located. In the aorta, the massive artery leaving the heart, blood rushes very quickly, often over a foot per second. But once it hits the tiny capillaries, it slows down to a fraction of a millimeter per second. This drastic change in speed is crucial because the blood needs to rush to get to the organs, but once it arrives, it needs to slow down to a crawl to allow time for the oxygen and nutrients to offload. If the blood moved too fast through the capillaries, your cells wouldn't have time to grab the food they need. And our 5th and final fun fact for today. Your heart does most of the work in the circulatory system, but it actually gets a little help from your legs. While your heart is in your chest, doing the heavy lifting, pushing blood out to the body, getting the blood back up from your feet against gravity is still a difficult task. To help with this, the muscles in your calves act as a sort of secondary pump. Every time you take a step, the calf muscles contract and squeeze the deep veins in your legs, forcing the blood upward toward your heart. This mechanism is so effective and vital, scientists will often refer to the calf muscles as the peripheral heart. Inside these leg veins, there are tiny one-way valves that work like trap doors. When the muscle squeezes, the trapdoor opens to let the blood up, but when the muscle relaxes, the trapdoor slams shut to stop gravity from pulling the blood back down to your ankles. And this is why movement is critical for human health. When you stand still or sit for long periods, that peripheral heart in your calves is not doing its work, and that can cause blood to pool in your legs. This is why soldiers standing at attention could sometimes faint. They aren't moving their legs, so not enough blood gets pumped back to their brain. Just by walking, you're mechanically assisting your heart in circulating your blood. Now for some news you can use. Here's a little tip to boost your energy without another cup of coffee. Take some regular movement breaks. Since we now know that our calf muscles act as a secondary pump to get the blood back up to the brain, we can see why sitting at a desk all day can make us feel a little sluggish or foggy. Set a timer for every 30 to 60 minutes to just stand up and do a few calf raises or walk around the room for 2 minutes. This simple mechanical action will help to circulate fresh, oxygenated blood to your brain and clear out waste products that have settled in your tissues. It isn't just about physical health, though. It's also a productivity hack. That sluggish feeling you get at 2 p.m. is often just a result of poor circulation. Instead of reaching for caffeine, which just stimulates the heart rate, try activating that peripheral heart in your legs. You might find that a brief walk wakes up your brain more effectively than a second cup of coffee because you're literally refueling your brain cells with fresh oxygen. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked, is it true that the blood inside your veins is actually blue and only turns red when it touches the air? And that's a fallacy. Human blood is always red. It's a brighter red when it's full of oxygen in your arteries, and it becomes a darker, more maroon red when it's in your veins after it's delivered that oxygen. It never goes blue though. The reason veins look blue through your skin has more to do with how light goes through the tissue. Blue light doesn't penetrate skin as deeply as red light, so it's reflected back to your eyes, making the dark red veins underneath appear blue. So no matter what anyone says, you are red-blooded through and through. Now I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about the circulatory system with me today, and be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.